Rams fans, welcome in. This is Rams Showcase. Tonight, 2025 rule changes are officially in, plus details, or lack thereof, of the Stafford deal. And later, starting predictions in April. Oh, you know it. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome into it, Rams Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags at Sheriff Joe Bags at Rams Showcase, episode 1 of season 10 of Rams Showcase. Absolutely crazy, dude. We are in season X of Rams Showcase, and that absolutely blows my mind. But thank you for being here, man. We are well into the offseason, of course, as it is April time right now. We are, of course, gearing up towards the draft. We will touch on some mock draft goings-on here in a bit. We also got fan cases on the back end, of course. RamShowcase.com, as where you also keep up to date. But, of course, the Rams Showcase podcast available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Also available on YouTube and Facebook in the video form. So pretty sweet stuff there. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it, though, as there is some pretty cool stuff to talk about. We're going to open with the NFL rule changes. We have seen that the league meetings have gone on, and now we are wrapping those up. So some to note here, tush push has been tabled. That's unfortunate. I think that the reason that I want to see this rule get put in place where you cannot do the tush push is simply because let's make it fair for all sides of the football here, all right? Because on special teams, you are no longer allowed to push your defensive tackles, straight into the center's face. So, I mean, I think it just if the rule is going to be for defense that they can't push immediately among the snap, then I think it needs to go on the offense as well. And then also, I am definitely one of those people, too, that's like, hey, I watch football because I want to be entertained. And that's the most boring play in sports. So it's like a bunt. It's like, come on, dude. It's like, that's so boring. That's so dull. It's like, yeah, it works. Congratulations. And yeah, you might be one of those people sitting here like, well, then stop it. It's like, well, I mean, sure. But I think that ultimately we will see eventually some kind of serious injury from this. And I think that that's unfortunate because when you get that many people pushing that many people together, and it's coming that way from both sides and stuff like that, somebody's going to get twisted up and stuff like that. We already saw it with whoever that. Oh man, I feel like a jerk not knowing it. The linebacker that hurt himself because he came in sideways on it, and it's like, well, yeah, it's dangerous. That's a lot of human being pushed there, and so I think that ultimately, I mean, like I said, it's just kind of a boring play. Sure, the Eagles are really good at it and stuff like that, but I think that if you actually look at the numbers from like 3rd and 4th and 1 or 2 or something like that, it's a right in that pocket that I think over the last 3 or 4 years, this is a good stat, huh? That the Rams actually have more conversions in that window than the Eagles. So that was really interesting. And we also know that the Rams do currently hold one of the best short yardage running backs in the NFL with Kyren Williams. So I think it ultimately, the tush push, I think it's a little bit of a weak play, whatever. We're not going to use it that much, I guess. We've seen some sneaks from Matthew Stafford, but I think that to that level is not something that I think that we would see. But either way, it is being tabled for now, so Eagles are still able to push their butts around the field, so that's cool. Playoff reseeding has been tabled. I'll be honest, I'll be really surprised if this is passed. And I realized, too, I had a misunderstanding there. I was like, well, might as well just take the top 7 in the conference then. And then somebody did provide me an example of somebody who would have made the playoffs in this new setting that didn't in the real world. So I guess that there's something to it, but I think that ultimately you need to keep winning your division as important as possible. So I would say, like, if we're dealing with the Week 18 game, Detroit versus Minnesota, that would have meant almost nothing. It would have meant, in fairness, a bye week, but it would have meant almost nothing. But I think a better example would be the difference between 2-3 or 3-4 right now. That's damn near irrelevant. Instead of a home game or road game, it's like I like the need to win. You know what I mean? So I think that if if you look at the way that the Rams were sitting in the situation, the Rams chose to sit their starters in Week 18 despite the chance to get the 3 seed with a win. Proof that teams don't care if you're 3 or 4. You already had a home game, don't matter anymore, you know? So I think that kind of shows that the teams don't care about that close. But also, Minnesota, you guys had your chance to get a home field advantage and a bye week, and you lost. Remember that part? That it wasn't you needing somebody else to win a game for you. It was you needed you to win the game, and you blew it. So I think that I know that Detroit is the one that submitted this rule, but I don't like this rule. I really don't. I think that if you win your division, you get a home game. If you don't win your division, i.e. Minnesota Vikings, who had a chance to do so in Week 18, you don't get a home game. Sucks to be you, nerds. Like, that just should have won the game then, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like, next we're going to be like, I think that we should get, it's double elimination for the playoffs. That game was so close, and that guy was hurt, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, show up and play and win, or shut up about it. It's kind of what I love about the NFL. So few games in the regular season, one and done in the playoffs. That's like kind of all the stuff I'm here for. Let's talk about the stuff that has been approved, though, as far as new rules go. The overtime rule has been approved, meaning both teams will now get a possession, even if the first team does score a touchdown. Although overtime has been shortened to 10 minutes in the regular season. And I don't know what it is about my brain, but the second I heard that it was getting shortened, dude, the first overtime game is going to be a tie, isn't it? That I just feel it. That just it's going to happen in week 2. It's going to happen, and then someone's going to their first team's going to go down and score a touchdown. Second team's going to go down and score a touchdown, and then no one's going to score. It's just going to end in a tie. And it's like, well, it worked. Kind of. Like, in the older rule, we would have had a winner and a loser. In this new rule, we have a tie. So I feel like that's probably going to happen at some point this year. Also, touchbacks on kickoffs are now coming out to the 35-yard line, which is wild to me. But you know what? I'm kind of here for it. I think we should see a lot more returns. I would like to see, I didn't even look up the numbers, I should have checked that out, of where the average returns were coming to when they come into the field of play in that little, the landing zone? I'm still getting used to it all. But yeah, I think that I would want to see the averages where that's coming out to, because if it's because Rams were one of those teams that were just like, yeah, just boot it out, man. Just boot it out of there. Make them only go 70% of the way. It's fine. But now putting that to the 35, that's a little bit of a change. We'll see what happens there. Onside proposal to allow any time onside kick has been tabled, so I should have mentioned that before. But the reason that I think that this one should come into play is that, we saw it happen in the most important game of the season, which was the Super Bowl. And obviously that was a blowout and the Chiefs were just getting absolutely smoked. But they had a situation where coming into the end of the third quarter, they had scored points and probably wanted to get the ball back again, but weren't even allowed to try an onside kick. So I do think that does get changed at some point. I think that whole aspect of no, you give them a turn is what are we doing here, man? It's then get the ball back, then recover it. If you want the ball, then recover it. And then also, if you recover an onside, you're at the 40, which is so sick. You're super, super close. But yeah, that whole it's no, everybody gets a turn. You guys scored, now they play. It's all right. I don't know. And maybe that's an aggressive way to look at it, but I do kind of feel that way. It's just a weird little rule. It's these are pros, man. Let them be pros. Let them play the game. Let's see here. Replay assist can also help with more penalties now. They cannot add flags. That is the most important part of this, because I feel like a lot of people are celebrating this move when it's not celebratable. That makes sense. So you still cannot add flags. You can now, though, overturn a called face mask flag to not a face mask flag, meaning that, yes, the Rams and Vikings regular season Thursday night matchup would not have changed. Byron Young definitely got the safety, man. That was my best joke, I think. My best internet trash talk that I've ever had in my life was when Vikings fans were so mad at the refs for not calling that game, and then I tweeted out, and it's I don't know why Vikings fans think the refs were on our side. Even at the end of the game, one of the refs was doing the skull clap. Pinnacle humor, all right? So I appreciate it. But yeah, either way, cannot change. That wouldn't have changed that that game. So another lame rule for you. Thursday flex has been changed now from 28 days to 21 days. It is still fairly limited in the weeks that can get flexed as far as the Thursday night game goes. But as an out-of-state fan, I will just say that I absolutely hate this. I mean, in fairness, I'm not really ever going to plan to go to a Thursday game. What are we doing on a Thursday night playing football, dudes? I'll watch for sure, but I gotta work the next day and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not doing this, But either way, I'm not trying to make this like all the things I hate about the NFL fest. But the change to go from 28 days to 21 days definitely does burn some people. And I will say that as an out-of-state fan, I'll be so upset, I think, that if I'm planning to go to a Sunday game and then that game gets moved to a Thursday, because then at that point, straight up, I just can't go. With my work schedule and stuff like that, I won't be able to adjust that. Flights, hotel, time off from work, stuff like that. It's not going to happen, so I'll just have to cancel everything. So I'm hoping it doesn't happen on the Rams. It does seem, though, luckily, we've only seen this the one time. That was the Broncos and Chargers this last year that they got flexed. But so hopefully it's not something that we see very often. And it does seem like something that the NFL only wants to do when they're straight up just a garbage matchup for Thursday Night Football. So, and that happens a lot. But also, hey, I mean, that happens sometimes. That's that's on your schedule makers at that point, NFL. Don't make me change all my plans, all right? And uniform rule. This one coming in big time into play when it comes to the LA Rams, as teams can now wear throwbacks or alternates 4 times. That was changed from what it previously was at 3. So teams can now also wear alternate pants in the postseason. I didn't realize that there was a big alternate pants universe, even though we got our pants pick segment and stuff like that over here. But I think that that's a pretty cool move. I don't think the Rams have alternate pants. We've seen the Soul pants. We've seen Royal. We've seen the Bone. Have we seen the Bone in playoffs? I'm gonna have to do some research. Actually, we may not have seen Bone. That may be alternate pants. So maybe we can see Bone this year in the postseason. I feel like we have though, man. Maybe it was Bone on blue. Maybe that's why we did that. For that, that was the year that we played in Seattle. The Wolf Au started, and then we went to Green Bay. We were doing the Bone jerseys with the blue pants, I believe, for that one, if I'm not mistaken. I think that sounds right. So, yeah, either way, though, can do that, the alternates. I will say, though, I have seen a lot of people say, hey, we can now wear, throwbacks 2 times a year and also Bone 2 times a year. The Rams do not currently have a throwback unrolled. So the uniforms that we have right now are all active and all current. We don't have any throwbacks that are currently available to us, although I will say that we have been planning that 2025 is the year that we get a new uniform combo. No word on what that new uniform will look like yet for the Los Angeles Rams, but I'm going to take a swing in the dark here and say that blue and white with the current styling, not a throwback version, is what we get. That's just a guess here. I have no inside information. That's purely a guess. I just think we get a blue and white with what we'll call the split horn. That's a phrase I see on the internet a lot. I think that we see that in white with a blue helmet, although I don't think it's impossible to get a white helmet with a blue horn, and I don't know why that's coming into my head so much. White helmet, blue horn, I don't know. There's just something to it. Would be the first time in team history to rock a blue horn, though. Only been rocking the white, yellow, and the gold, of course. But that's what we're dealing with right now for uniforms, so we will potentially be able to add a game, but also let's not pretend. The Rams, we were able to use 3. Rams only used 2, so have ability to add 2 more Bone games, or because we are expecting a new uniform to be unveiled, that maybe we go 50-50 to 2-2 or something like that. But I also don't think it's possible. We go 3-1, Bone getting just 1, which it does feel like it's getting phased out, which makes me sad. It is my favorite jersey myself. We all got our opinions. That's my favorite jersey. I absolutely love it. Bone on yellow is the pinnacle uniform combo. The way it matches in with those blue helmets too, man. So crispy, dude. Absolutely love that. So, let's see here. Also, last one here. Put your index cards away, dude, because you're not going to need them anymore. We're getting electronic first down measurements now, which we'll see, man. It sounds like the tech is there and going to be fine. So I guess we got that going for us. But I am a little bit curious to see if there's any moments where it's like, that's not right, because that happens all the time. So We shall see. In other news, Matthew Stafford contract details are still not public. Per Sean McVay, it does sound like the contract has been sent over, but just not officially ink on paper yet. Does sound like no hiccups are expected. He's going to be the Rams starting quarterback this year. We're not expecting any last minute, 11th hour, I guess we're going to trade him instead kind of thing. I don't expect that at all. That would be a surprise. But technically, this is not an official transaction, according to the NFL, yet. Has not been signed and sent over. I do think that is important to note, although expect it to happen. I don't expect any hiccups there. It does sound like Stafford definitely took less than what we anticipated, possibly, as Sean McVay did mention. It's like, I think that when the numbers come out, it'll be evident, that he helped us out, and it's like, yo, what are we paying this dude? Because yoicks, dude. And also, I do think that the details of his contract will give us plenty of information about what to expect from this team within the next 5 or so years. If it's a 1-year deal, expect the Rams to hit it so hard this year and then draft a rookie quarterback next year. That fully makes sense to me. I don't expect a rookie quarterback this year. I know that is a conversation. I don't anticipate it. Not impossible, but I would be surprised about it. But yeah, ultimately, I think that will tell us quite a bit, is what those details are on the Matthew Stafford contract and what that means. Because what if it's a 4-year deal, 5-year deal, and it's kind of like with the knowledge of like, oh no, you're finishing here, however long you want to play though, but this is the last stop. Or is it, hey man, I got one more in me. Let's hit it hard. Or is it the Rams saying, we'll do one more, and then we're moving on because we need to get some youth up in this building? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different moving parts of it, obviously, but the way that Sean McVay was talking about it did sound like we might be surprised by how low the number is. Kind of is the vibe that I'm picking up on. So yeah, either way. Let's see here. Moving on. Rams do confirm that center Coleman Shelton was brought in to be the starting center over Bo Limmer, who will now have an incredible opportunity to learn from the bench after a full season of starting. The position to learn here is absolutely incredible, especially under Coleman Shelton. And I, at first, didn't really think about this as far as why Coleman Shelton would be brought in. It was like, hey, cool, nice to have a veteran back and stuff like that. And then somebody brought it up on a live stream. I think it was on my 9-year anniversary live stream to kick off season 10. And somebody brought it up there that they thought that Coleman Shelton was being brought in to start. And I was like, immediately like, no, I don't think so. And then I talked myself out of it within 4 minutes, I think. I was like, oh no, yeah, he's probably the starter. Like that makes total sense. And then the Rams did confirm that. And it does sound like that move is being made based on communication. It does sound like the Jalen Carter play there at the end of the Eagles game made the Rams think like, hey, we're really, really good, but we can't afford that. Simply put, Bo Limmer, I fully anticipate sticks around and also is kind of in line of like, hey man, we love what you're doing. Coleman, though, is the man. And we're going to have him kind of come in, show you how it's done. But in like 2 years, man, we're back to you again, but you'll be a veteran at that point kind of thing. And I do kind of feel like that's how the Rams are kind of taking this. So that is good news. Also in potential contract news, sounds like the Rams are willing to bring back running back Kyren Williams on a longer-term deal. And if I had to guess, I would say that we do get that this offseason, and I would anticipate a 3-year extension. You don't want to go too far with running backs, but also you want to show some love to the guys who have been getting it done for you with, such as Kyren Williams. Real fast here, let's take a look at the rest of the West. Time to see what those other 3 dweebs are up to. We'll start with the Arizona Cardinals signing 38-year-old Calais Campbell to a 1-year deal. Campbell is entering his 18th season in the NFL, which is absolutely wild. Some of my viewers here have not even been around that long in the world, let alone checking out the NFL. I will say this as far as my outlook for the Arizona Cardinals, and again, this is my pre-draft outlook for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't love their offseason, but also I don't hate their offseason. Something feels like they will still be dead by the end of the year, but that they'll die a little bit later this year than they have in previous years by like 1 or 2 weeks. Nothing crazy. Seattle Seahawks, new reports on details of DK Metcalf winning out of Seattle for what kind of sounds like a little bit of time here. Not sure why these stories are coming out now, well after the trade has taken place. DK Metcalf is very much a Pittsburgh Steeler now, so not sure why the details will be out now. My pre-draft outlook on the Seattle Seahawks going into the 25 season, I think that going from Geno to Darnold is a bigger drop in talent than the Seahawks are willing to admit at this time. People are too sold on Darnold's one season that ended with two absolutely atrocious games. So you're only as good as your last game, and Sam Darnold, according to his last two, is not very good. I do think that the roster of the Seahawks, though, will carry them to either 2 or 3 in the division. Last on the list, last in our hearts, the San Francisco 49ers. It's just math. 49ers owner Jed York says when acknowledging that in order to pay Brock Purdy, that team has had to make some sacrifices. We know Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga, they did want to keep both of those guys, both of them now in Denver, oddly enough, so they got to stick together. But we do know that the 49ers were intending on trying to keep both of those players. My pre-draft outlook for the 49ers, I think that the Niners do pay Brock Purdy, and about 3 years from today, we're talking about that it was just a mistake, and, you know, that they shouldn't have paid him, and maybe should have made it a little incentive-based to be able to keep some other guys, such like that. So I will say pre-draft in March that I think that the Niners have a pretty similar year to last year. 6 or 7 wins is my guess. And here, just some former Rams making their moves around the NFL. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds is signing with the New York Jets. Cornerback Robert Rochelle signing with the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly Packers most recently. Nick Scott, Brick Scott, signing with the Carolina Panthers, filling in now for Jordan Fuller, who's now an Atlanta Falcon. So a little bit of a former Rams safety swap out there in Carolina. And wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Absolutely love this move, actually, going back to the Saints. I'm a big fan of that. I think that that's absolutely awesome, right? And we'll get into our starting projections, or at least my picks, in April. But first, I want to talk about some mock drafts. I myself am not a mock drafter, but I have enlisted some of my very, very trusted people to answer the questions for you so that I don't have to, all right? So first up, we're going to go to the nighttime host and one of my good friends for X1039 in Colorado Springs, Willie Will. I just have a question for you, man. First of all, thank you so much for hopping on here with me. But I just got to ask you, man, who do you think the Rams are going to take with the 26th overall pick in this year's draft?
Bro, why would you even ask me that? I'm a Broncos fan. I don't know anything about basketball.
Okay, fair enough. Next up, we have enlisted, I actually known this guy for quite a while. We went to high school together. Daniel, man, this guy's absolutely awesome. An incredible local podcaster out here in the Colorado Springs area. One of the funnier human beings I've ever known, and also one of those people that hasn't given in to the whole weird, just like, we're not allowed to joke about things in society anymore. But absolutely love this guy. Love his takes as well. And I feel like he'll have some really good information for us here, man. So, hey, Daniel, who do you think that the Rams are going to take with the 26th overall pick in this year's draft?
I'm not even sure why you would even ask me that. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, to be blunt, man, it's because I thought that you would be the best person to ask. But, you know, maybe if you just don't know.
Dude, seriously? What the dude? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, all right, dude. I won't compliment you again. Damn. We got starting projections and fan quesos after this break. Ooh, welcome back in Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags, working on getting some new stuff still updated. That little break piece that you see there, I'm going to change that up. Also going to change the intro. And I kind of struggled with that because my brain was like, nah, I don't need to switch that intro, dude. That's like from one of the most iconic Super Bowl runs of all freaking time, dude. But you know what? The more I thought about it, I was like, oh, let's keep it fresh. Let's keep it good. But also, I can't go into a week where I'm going to have to preview a game where the Rams are going against a Cooper Kupp when he's getting shouted out in my intro. So that's going to have to get removed for a little bit. You know what I mean? So after Kupp retires, then maybe that bad boy will be back into the fold. But for now, I've got nothing bad or negative to say about Cooper Kupp, but I do hope he loses a bunch of football games from here on out. Let's go ahead and get into our April starter projections, all right? So here, I mean, keep in mind, we are pre-draft. We are pre-cuts, obviously, and we're pre a lot of stuff. All right, so just keep that in your brain while we go over this part. As well, a lot of things can change. All right, my opinions are fluid. As I receive more information, I am able to change my mind, and I know that some people disagree with that. I do think that that's weird when you're like, nope, I feel like this, and I will feel like this until I die. It's like, well, what about this? And it's like, too late. I've already made up my mind. It's like, well, I don't know, man. So these are our April starting projections. We're also going to toss in captains, by the way. I'm going to make my captain picks as well. Let's go ahead and start. Quarterback, Matthew Stafford. There's not any surprises here. Also, captain pick. Matthew Stafford, obviously. Number 9 is going to be the guy. At running back, Kyron Williams. But I do expect to see a lot more Blake Corum this season. So obviously with his injury getting that late, I'm not sure if we anticipate that impacting training camp or anything like that. But I do think that that Blake will be involved as the season goes on. At tight end, I'm gonna go with Tyler Higbee, but I do feel like we see a lot of a rookie. And that rookie ends up having a higher snap percentage per game by the end of the season than Tyler Higbee does at the start of the season. I think that we'll see that kind of wave, kind of crossover as such. But Tyler Higbee will be day one starter, but I do, like I said, anticipate a rookie kind of coming in and stealing some of those reps. And also, let's not forget guys like Davis Allen, very talented player, So I think we got to keep that in mind as well. Let's look at wide receiver. We're going to start with future Hall of Famer Puka Nacua, who is my captain pick as well. I think that the Rams are one of those teams that typically allows their fans to pick out, captains, and I do think that Puka will certainly be right in that conversation for sure. Next up, Devontae Adams, expected to be a starter, of course, and Tutu Atwell, the Tutu train. I do think he sees a massive jump in his reps this season. I think his contract tells us that. I think that a lot of people are looking at his contract saying, why would we pay him that? He's only done this. But what I think we need to be looking at is why would we pay him this? Because of what we're looking at for 25. You know what I mean? It's like 24, 23, dude, those are over. All right. Let's not even worry about him anymore, right? The future for Tutu Atwell, I think, is a lot brighter than his past is. I'll say that much. And I think we've already kind of gotten that from the comments from Sean McVay, where even he agrees. He's like, oh yeah, he's been underutilized for sure. So there is also that part. So I do think that the Tutu train gets plenty of reps. Next up, we'll go to the offensive line. We're going to go from left to right from the perspective of Matthew Stafford, what he's seeing here. We've got A.J. Jackson on that left tackle slot. Steve Avila slipping in at left guard. Coleman Shelton, your starting center. Kevin Dotson at right guard. And your captain, Rob Havenstein, taking down that right tackle spot. Let's keep in mind also, Rob Havenstein, I know that we're starting to see the grays. I know that we're starting to feel like he's been here for a billion years, and he is the final remaining St. Louis Ram, the final one hanging on there. But I think it's also important to keep in mind that, what was Witt playing till? In his 40s and stuff like that? I mean, if that's the case, we got Big Rob for another 5 years. You know what I mean? So I think that we do need to consider that aspect of it. But Big Rob, of course, being that captain over there, I think that everybody kind of looks to him to be that guy, and he is that guy. So fair enough. You know what I mean? Fair enough. Next up here, flipping over to the defensive side, we're going to stick with that defensive line. You got our 3 for you here. Braden Fisk, second-year man. Poona Ford coming over his first year for the Rams. And then Kobe Turner, who I think does get the captain patch as well. Once again, he did have that last year. I will say this, though. As far as rotations go, anything like that, keep your eye out for Tyler Davis, all right? Tyler Davis, I feel like, is not getting enough conversation about him. And I think that's, it's because of Kobe Turner and Poona Ford and Braden Fisk. It's because these names exist on the roster right now that Tyler Davis isn't really getting that love. And what I hate about that fact is that I do think that if other people are seeing the things that I'm seeing with Tyler Davis, other teams and such, that he could get lost via trade or something like that. So I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on. But Tyler Davis, man, number 90, keep your eyeballs on him, man. That kid is very, very good, especially right off the line. Outside linebacker, we're going to go with Jared Verse, who I'm going to say gets a captain patch. I'm going to go ahead and lock that in, man. Byron Young also, though, might be the one to get the captain patch over Verse, but I'm also not sure, dude. It really just depends on what that locker room is vibing in there, you know what I mean? Inside linebacker, I'm going to go with Bromar Spates and Nate Landman. Nate Landman might be the top guy here. I'll be completely honest. I do think that he does become our ILB1, if you will. And I also do think that he's an early underdog for the green dot. I do think that is absolutely possible that he green dots, although if we do see a similar situation where Quentin Lake gets it again, I don't think that would be too big of a surprise, but I think Nate Landman is like my underdog green dot. Underdog green dot. There's something there. That's pretty cool. At cornerback, I'm going to start with Darius Williams, D. Will on the outside. And right now, I'm just going to say Akella Witherspoon because he's here. He has started plenty of football games for this Rams team, but I do think my heart says rookie on the outside. Maybe not to start the season, but I do think that we see somebody else on the outside other than Witherspoon, who I do think gets plenty of playing time, plenty of reps, plenty of rotations in there, but I do think that ultimately a starter does become a rookie. And then Kobe Durant filling in slot and kind of a star and stuff like that. I think that he's definitely a starting corner in this defense as well. He's kind of a raw talent, which is kind of weird to say because he also is very, very good. So he's like, I don't know. Kobe Durant's kind of hard to nail down, man. But I am a huge fan. The Land Shark is coming for you, dude. Absolutely love it. And at safety, we're going to go with Cam Curl, who's just, dude, out here destroying dudes, man. I'm so excited for Cam in his second season as a Rams safety. And then also we're going to go to Quentin Lake as another captain pick for myself over here. I don't know if you guys can see Carl over here. He might just be barely off a frame, but he's sitting on this table or this chair over here. And then on special teams, we're going to go to kicker is going to be Josh Carty. Your punter is going to be Ethan Evans. Long snapper is going to be Alex Ward. And I just want to mention this when I'm talking about these special teamers real quick. Make no mistake about it. This trio is awesome. This is an incredible trio. This is the new Jeezy Heck McQuaid trio. Legitimately. This is absolutely a great combination of three dudes. Joshua Carty, I think that we saw him. Carty on Wayne and all that stuff. I've got his signed pylon back here. That's one of my most random items, which I absolutely love. But kicker pylon. I don't know. I saw it on there. I had to do it. So, but either way, Carty, I think that we saw last year that he can be reliable. I think we know that Ethan Evans is just unreal, dude. My punter could beat up your punter for sure. No question about it. And then Alex Ward, who we never hear from, and that's exactly what you want. We never heard from Jake McQuaid. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that. You don't want to hear about your long snapper, right? That means they're absolutely killing it, man. So 47, Alex Ward, we see you, man. We see you, dude. You're killing it, man. It's awesome. So absolutely love it. Let's go ahead and get into our fan quesos. I will say this on fan quesos. I think my timing was terrible because I actually didn't get any that were commented on my posts here. But we're going to go ahead and head over to this text thread and we'll ask these ones here. So these ones here coming from Rams House. It says, what would it be like sharing a room with Les Snead? Rams general manager Lester. Is it Lester? I actually don't even know. What would it be like sharing a room with Les Snead? Let's call it a great time. That's my answer. That's such a good answer. Next up here. Why do you think the Rams have gotten so much better at drafting the last two drafts? Luck, skill, a bit of both. The 2017 draft was very good, but then we had a bit of a hiatus where the drafts we had were just okay. What has shifted over the last two drafts, in your opinion, that has helped us become such an elite drafting team? One thing that I actually do think that has been quite an important piece of the Rams drafting is obviously scouts and personnel. We know that like Brad Holmes did a killer job helping out the Rams build their roster when he was the director of scouting for the Rams before taking over the GM job for the Detroit Lions. And look what he's doing out there. I mean, the dude knows how to build a football team. You know what I mean? But I will also say that I've been a big fan of Gladstone for a while now. And I was kind of like, he was a name that I've kind of always had in the back of my head of like, oh, if Les is gone, then maybe Gladstone will be, slotted in there or something like that. Similar to how I've talked about like Aubrey Pleasant, where it's like, hey, if Sean leaves though, like we have a guy who can absolutely, I think is an incredible coach, an incredible human being, and is so good at this, man. So it's like we have somebody at least who could do it. You know what I mean? So Gladstone, who ended up getting the Jaguars GM job, who was a guy I was extremely high on. So I will say that I think that our scouts are just, they understand what this coaching staff is looking for. They understand what Sean McVay is looking for. We're not looking for you to run the fastest 40 and have, the coolest highlight tape of you making this cut on somebody or something. That doesn't, no. It's, where's your personality? Where's your head at, man? Like, are you coming in here to kick all the butt cheeks, or are you just coming in here trying to cash some checks? You know what I mean? Because I do feel like the Rams go for a specific kind of player in that world. So I do think that that's it, man. I think it's just cohesion in the scouting process and keeping open lines of communication with the coaching staff and the front office and the scouts and all that. I think that the Rams are just doing a very good job of that. Although we keep on losing really good ones. So maybe that's what we need to do, man. Maybe we need to get in there. Maybe we just need to start scouting or something like that. I don't know. I feel like I could do okay if I actually tried to learn how to do all that, but I mean, maybe not. I don't know. But I do think that that's it. It's just cohesion, a team. This is just, the Rams are really good at building cool stuff. So let's do what time's at here. All right. I think we're doing okay. Let's see. Funniest McVay moment in his tenure with the Rams. Ooh. Funniest McVay moment. His Ted Rath doing the get back stuff was always really funny to me. Trying to think. That's a hard one, man. I don't know if I've had that many funny McVay moments. You just feel like he's so serious all the time. I think I'll just say that, and I wasn't even there, and I'm just relaying a story from Matthew Stafford where he was talking about being on the beach or being in Cabo where the whole trade situation happened. And he was talking about this on the Heights podcast with the Kelsey guys. And he was saying that he's like, Sean McVay is out here. He's just trying to have a margarita. Stafford is, and Sean's like, yeah, you see this play? Do you remember this one? It's like, yeah, dude. It's like I just try to go on vacation, man. Leave me alone. I just absolutely love that because Sean McVay is always business all the time, and absolutely love that. Big fan. Next one here. What's your argument for the Rams releasing a blue uniform this offseason? Will we ever get that navy blue uniform that's in our color scheme? I think that's part of it, dude. I think this is it. I think this is why I think white and blue is the navy blue. I think that's what we get. For those of you that don't know what that means, there is under the depths of the Rams website, you can find the actual full color schemes and all that stuff, and there is a navy blue that is different than the previous navy blue. So I know it's an added blue, and I do think that's, maybe I wasn't super clear on that. I do think it's a dark blue and white that we see for the new helmets. That's just a guess. That's just a guess. That navy blue. But what's my argument for the Rams releasing blue and white uniform this offseason? I think it's another one of those, even though we're getting into it now where we've been in LA for a while now, it's still, I think the Rams are still trying to do those, hey, old fans, we haven't forgotten about you guys. I think that's what it is. I think that's why we're wearing kind of the uniforms that we're wearing now. I think it kind of makes sense, but it's hey, guys, we're back. We're the LA Rams. You loved us, remember? We're 60s and Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, and stuff like that, Fearsome Foursome days where we were blue and white. You guys remember? You loved that so much? Roman Gabriel slinging it and stuff? Well, it's back. Snow and all that business, man. Man, I'm getting fired up over here. But either way, I do think that's it. I think that the dark blue, the navy blue color scheme, and white is what we see this year. But, again, with the current stylings. So, maybe with because on the patches, on the blue and the white jerseys that we have, it just says Rams. And on the bone, it says Los Angeles Rams on the patch. So I do think it'll say Los Angeles Rams. I do think it'll be similar to that world. But a bit of an ode to the blue and white. What position group will take the biggest leap in 2025? You don't need to know who we draft this month for this question to be answered. You're absolutely right. It is inside linebacker. I don't think that's too crazy to say. I think that the guys that we had last year, I like Roseboom. I think he's going to do fine in Atlanta. I do think we improved. I think Landman is better than Roseboom, although, again, I like Roseboom. I can like a player who is not the best in the NFL. I don't know why that blows people's minds, but I don't only like the best people, too. It's like, oh, yeah, I really like that guy. And it's like, he's not even that good. It's like, all right, neither are you. I like you. But yeah, I think that inside linebacker is going to take the biggest leap. I think that Landman has his really strong experience to bring into this grouping here, and then Omar Spates, who I am kind of just maybe I'm hoping, but I'm feeling a jump from Omar Spates from year 1 to year 2. Let's keep in mind he was a UDFA last year. You're kind of behind the 8 ball in that situation, so I do think that is important. Next few here coming from Payo Time. Do you ever think McVay has any kind of relationship with former Rams coaches like Fisher, Spags, Linehan, Martz? Absolutely not. I don't think so. Fisher, I think, is just like still like on a lake in Montana, right? I mean, I don't think he's really doing much. If I had to guess, he was in a music video. Who remembers that? He was a cop in a music video. What song was that for? Gosh, that's so long ago. That's funny. That was straight up St. Louis, like 2013 or 14. He was in a music video. Dang it, man! If I remember, I'll like put something on screen or something. But no, I don't. I don't think he's got any kind of relationship with those guys. I think he's too busy with his relationship with his current guys. I mean, that's a lot of coaches that you're dealing with right now, and he's also too busy like doing commentary on Devontae Adams highlights to have a relationship with guys like Spags and stuff like that. And like Spags and, Linehan, these guys are coaching in the NFL still, but I don't think that there's like any Rams connections there, if that makes sense. And then last one here coming from Payo Sam. What position group do you think has the most depth on the Rams? That's a really good question, actually. I felt so confident that I was gonna have like a solid answer for this, but now I'm thinking because offensive line, I don't hate our depth there. Could be better, I guess. Actually, tight end, I love our depth, but also it's not. The depth is there. The high endness is not. If that makes sense. I think that we're really deep at wide receiver. I love our depth at wide receiver. Safety, dude. For no reason at all, we have the sickest safety group in the world. Like even our like young guys that are like our Kinchins, McCullough. These are backups, guys. Like these are like third string guys, and they're killers out here, dude. So it's absolutely awesome, man. So I would say, actually, I feel confident about saying safety. Actually, safety specifically. You get in like Cam Curl, Quentin Lake, and then you got the Kinchins and McCullough, stuff like that. And then Johnson. Yeah, that group is so sick, dude. So sick. Thank you guys for your cases, man. I do appreciate the heck out of you guys. We'll try to do a better job at timing that, and then also try to nail down my other stuff here. Sorry about my draft joke. I know some of you hated that. I don't know if we'll have another episode pre-draft, but I am excited to meet the rookies with you. I will say that I'm still in the same mood with the draft. The draft hype, getting the lead up into it, doesn't grab me. I'm fine with getting more into it, but there's also so many places to get it, dude. I don't want to beat dead horses and stuff over here, so yeah, that's where we're at with the pre-draft. What I will say is I am waiting for the Rams to tell me who to root for this year. And however many rookies that happens to be, I'm hyped for them. We will meet them together. I'll dive into them, and we'll definitely get into that and where they fit into this roster heading into the 25 season. So it may be post-draft that you hear from me again. Might be pre-draft. Sounds like this coming Saturday, though, Tuna and the Sheriff, check that out. That's live streamed on the First and Tuna YouTube channel, also the Rams Showcase Facebook page. So be sure to check it out there. At Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, BT Dubs. That's where you can follow along on the internet. Also, just wanted to share this. Somebody made fun of me for this the other day. It was so funny because it's like this Keith Knoll signed rookie card. It's on my desk here, but it's for me. One of my friends was like, "Why is that not to the camera?" I was like, "No, that's my inspiration, dude." Keith Knoll for president, hell yeah! That's gonna do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fansided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.